I'd like to share a 5-step approach to overcoming and managing anger. In the words of Jack Nicholson,
temper's the one thing you can't get rid of by losing it.
My name is Ari Sampson. I'm a psychotherapist and I specialize in helping people with anger issues. The 5-step approach I call the 5 C's. The first step is control, to stay in control at the time of anger. Let me give you an example. Just say you're driving and you stop at a traffic light and some car comes and it bangs into you in the back. Then it reverses and bangs again. And then reverses, bangs again. I'm sure that most of us would feel very upset and want to get out and say some kind of negative things to that driver, at least. So you get out and you see the other person comes out of their car and they're 7 foot tall, highly muscular with a baseball bat. Most of us, I'd like to consider that we would not get too excited. We would remain calm and cool and try and get back into our car as quickly as possible. Why is that? Because we see the consequences of getting angry. See, the more we see the consequences, the more control we have. As Yoda says,
anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Suffering can come in many ways. It can be in our relationships, it can destroy relationships, it can be our work life, even our health. Scientists have shown that anger can cause a greater propensity to cancer, heart attacks, our immune system goes down. So we want to avoid it at all costs. So by biting our lip, stepping away, breathing, removing ourselves. The second step is to calm down. Because when we're in that reactive state, we can still get triggered and anger can still happen. So we can calm down in many ways by taking a walk, exercise, speaking to a friend. There's one method that I found particularly useful, and that is writing what's called an angry letter or a red letter. And this has been used by many people. Abraham Lincoln was famous for writing angry letters to a general that he disobeyed him. He wrote it out to get his anger, to use it in the most effective way rather than just exploding. So what do? Get a piece of paper. Now this letter you're not going to send, and you write out all your anger. No holds barred. You leave it for a while, for a few hours, it could be a day. You reread it. If there's anything you missed, you add to it. And you do that day after day until you've written everything out. Then you leave it for a while, and then you reread it. Now you can also imagine what the other person will respond and then respond back to that and do that. Now, once you've done this process, what you'll generally find is that it's very calming because it's cathartic. You expressed your anger, you've got it out of your system in a kind of controlled explosion. The third step is to contemplate what's happening. Because often when we get into an angry situation, we get into blaming, we get into victimizing the other person, we jump to conclusions, we don't see things clearly. And when we're calm, it's a good time to just clarify exactly what happened. Maybe we had some involvement in ourselves. And one of the things that really can help dramatically is to look at it from the other person's perspective. That can be difficult. And there is a Jewish teaching that says that do not judge another person until you've reached that place. Look at it from their position and really have a big effect on changing our perspective. There's another way that helps, and that is looking at our own motivation. Sometimes we're just projecting anger onto the other person. It could be that another person outside of this relationship has angered us and we're directing at this specific person. It could be that we're angry with ourselves and we're just letting it out. There's a kind of a joke that says a man comes home, he gets angry with his wife because he can't let it out on his boss. His wife then gets angry with the kids kick the cat. There's kind of like progression. But however it is, our motivation is important to judge. And when we look at all these factors, we can actually calm down our perspective and feel less triggered by the situation. The fourth step is to communicate in an open and non-confrontational way. When you're calm, that's much easier to do, but often you need some tools which can be helpful. In my practice, I teach people many of these tools, and I'll mention a few of them. The first is to use I phrases. I and the way I feel. I feel this rather than you are. For example, not you're an idiot, you never come back on time from work, but I feel upset when you don't ring to let me know you're coming home. The second is to use what we call mirroring. And that is when one person speaks, you paraphrase it back to them to make sure you've got it. And then you check with them and the other person does the same to you. So often these communications go off because people are jumping to conclusions, or they're not even listening to the other person. They're so ready to answer back and make their point. By mirroring, we slow it down, we understand the other person, and we can work to resolve it. The third is to look for solutions. Get out of I'm right, you're wrong, you did this, you lied here. No, how do we work it out so this doesn't occur? And when we can resolve it and find a solution, that can stop that occurring again, because often people just get stuck in that loop of it having it over and over and over again. I've used this in my own life. I get sensitive about people forgetting my birthday. I remember one time somebody close to me forgot my birthday. I was furious. I always remember their birthday, and I wrote my angry letter, and then I got it down when I communicated to them to saying, I'd really appreciate you remembering my birthday because it upsets me when you don't. And they accepted it, and they said, yeah, for sure, I'll do that in future. The fifth step is change, personal change. That may mean simple behavioral steps like being more organized, getting more sleep, or getting more food so you don't get hangry. But it could also be slightly deeper work, because when we get angry, often it's because we're being hit in a vulnerable place where we may have had difficulties in the past. For example, a person who had criticism for his parents and then gets criticized by their spouse may react immensely more because that past pain is still there, it's being re-triggered. So we have to understand that, and in some ways the anger can be a teacher to tell us that this area needs to be dealt with more. And that's very important to do. So these are the 5 steps. Control, calm down, consider what's happened, communicate and change. And for many people, this can be transformational. For others, they may need help to integrate it. I work on Zoom internationally to help people do that, as well as in person in North London. If you'd like to contact me to work with me personally, please feel free. My website will come up and my details will come up on this video. I look forward to meeting you. I plan to make more videos on this topic and to go into it deeper. I hope you've gained from this one.